Guys, I'm here to tell you we've got a jam-packed day between the possibility of war with Iran. I've got the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, scheduled on the show to talk about the Chicago Bears coming to Indiana. It's a big one. And the media defense of Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Good Lord. Ain't that something? Anyway, we got a lot of show to get to. Let's begin.
Time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen if it doesn't.
Now, I'm here to tell you that we're hearing about a possible war action with Iran as early as this weekend. And I'm telling you, I have no idea what possibly they're going to hit. Because I'm going to walk you through where I'm at. And if I take a look at military targets and military conversations with its hits from the United States and with the 2 aircraft carriers we have in the region, I don't see what we've done to thwart the Ayatollah, to thwart the IRGC, to stop them from abusing the people. There's only one hit that I think works. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Also, the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, scheduled to be with us with this announcement that this is a serious happening. The Chicago Bears possibly coming to Indiana. You're Pritzker and you lose the Bears? Yeah, but they're still going to be called Chicago. I have got that story. We'll hear what the governor says. And remember, ain't nothing done until it's done. What is done is that the message has gone forth, and the full-on rehabilitation of Representative Ocasio-Cortez is going forward. And you say to me, for what reason would you be trying to rehabilitate Representative Ocasio-Cortez? Ocasio-Cortez failed epically in Munich. And so much so that everybody's talking about it and rallying to her defense. The people over there at, I think it's New York Magazine, write, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's appearance at the Munich Security Conference, one of the world's premier foreign policy events, seemed to be a step in the direction of higher office. It was supposed to be a triumphant foreign visit for Ocasio-Cortez, who is, on the national level, the best current hope for the American left. She's the best. She's the best current hope for the political left, which is an admission from New York Magazine that, of course, that today's American left are Marxist. It's an admission. They're not Democrats. That's not what they are. Though she acquitted herself well in a majority of interviews and panels in Munich, is that right? Is that right? If you say so. It continues. One stumble stood out. Questioned directly about whether the U.S. should send troops to defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. She stalled for about 20 seconds. Now, if you did not hear what it is that Representative Ocasio-Cortez said, what she said was, well, you know, Taiwan thing, it was really bad. It was brutal. And it was so brutal, it was so obvious to everyone that she failed to be able to answer the question because she had never once thought of the question, because to have this kind of foreign policy understanding, well, takes study. It would take actually being somebody who is aware of the world around them and their surroundings and doing more than just being somebody who is speaking in sloganeering and emojis to the political left. This was the question and the answer.
Should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Yes, but what happens if they invade? You want to avoid it, sure. What happens if they invade? She was not prepared for it. She was not prepared for real questions. Now, as I have said, this doesn't stop her from running for president. This doesn't stop the progressive from voting for her. Not in the slightest. You'd be out of your mind if you thought that was the case. She's going to run. She is going to be successful because her people don't require answers. They require Trump bad. They require simple, basic sloganeering. And while I have called her stupid, because she is, she's not dumb. She is still wildly popular. She is still absolutely social media popular. And she is going to be formidable when she runs. Which brings us to this, what do you call it? Circling of the wagons. There is a circling of the wagons. And you're seeing more and more people in media try and come to her aid. In this story over at New York Magazine, I thought this headline was a little interesting. This cover story. AOC's Munich stumble is a warning to the left. And so the author, Ross Barkan, B-A-R-K-A-N, who I do not know, is saying that if you're going to run for president, you got to be able to handle some of these things. You have to be able to get these foreign policy questions correct, because it's more than just about whether or not you are placating your base in the U.S. The world is watching. The world is watching, and if they don't believe they can trust or have faith in you protecting Taiwan from China, they are going to say so. Pressure will be applied. Some might say, well, what do we care about Taiwan? It's not our concern. If they get invaded, they get invaded. That's a really bad idea. Anytime you have a growing China, you've got yourself a serious issue. You want China to have control of the Taiwan Strait. You want them to have control of Taiwan Semiconductor. You want to then see what they decide to control next, what they do to shipping lanes in the area. You want China being the dictator of the navigable seas. You want that pressure on Japan and South Korea and Australia? One of the things that I think we've learned, or we should have learned, is that this idea that, we don't want to be the world's policeman, I think is a legitimate statement. We don't want all of this. But I think that some people have started to learn that maybe those neocons, they at least had a kernel of an idea. And the kernel of the idea is you can't just walk away from everything. Now, maybe we can walk away from some things. We're pulling troops out of Syria. Pulling the troops out of Syria. I think this is a very interesting move. I'm not saying that the Syrian government now is this great thing. You could argue it's better than Bashar al-Assad. But these are people who are former ISIS. But they have been very, very helpful in catching terrorists and thwarting terrorist activities, so much so that we have seen reductions in sanctions. Now we're pulling U.S. troops. As long as these people don't go after the Druze community, D-R-U-Z-E, hey, Syria will never be us. It'll never be a liberty-based society, right? It'll never be a republic, but sometimes you get the best that you can get. But maybe there's something to be said for having relationships. And maybe there's something to be said for, yes, it costs us some money here and it costs us some money there, but it's better than the violent alternative. I think Trump has come to this. I think that there are people on the right in MAGAville who have come to this understanding. And this understanding is that the world is still making moves. And we are getting tested 24/7. I argue that they have to get tested. Senator Tom Cotton said something super smart regarding Iran. They've never won a war. They're never fighting. But man, are they great negotiators? Because they seem to get what they want, and they never actually engage a fight. They throw drones at Israel. Don't get me wrong. People got hurt, and they can throw a lot of drones at Israel. And I don't think we should be engaged in thinking that Israel should only be involved in some defensive thing. Well, they've got Iron Dome. They blocked it. It was fine. Oh, hell no. No. That's crazy. I would never, ever just think that. These people who want a nation to be destroyed, they would say that. You got to be able to understand the world around you. That is extremely important. Trump understands the world around him. Oh, they can lambast him and the left can hate him all they want. It doesn't matter. All this talk about Greenland, Europe is thrilled that the United States is right now trying to get Greenland because they know if they do, it's better for them than having the Russians or the Chinese having pieces of Greenland. Everyone in Europe will sleep better no matter how much they complain or moan or kvetch or bitch. It won't matter. That's the real world. The world knows how dangerous it is. And what Representative Ocasio-Cortez said is, I don't know how dangerous the world is. I've never thought of these things. And for New York Magazine to say it was a stumble while putting her on the cover is very, very important. And while the rest of media is trying to talk about how well she did, she didn't do well. She didn't do well. She doesn't have the mind. That doesn't mean that back in the States, she doesn't have the potential votes. She's running. She is positioning herself to run. You will doubt her and ignore her and dismiss her at your own peril. I'm not about to. She ain't bright, but she ain't dumb. The world may be concerned, but you're not going to get left-wing Marxists from the university set to care. We've got real issues ahead of us. And this, even if the left is noticing, it doesn't stop others from trying to insulate her from any criticism. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. You don't have to look at the world, just look at us. I don't know what that comment means, Joe. I do not know what that comment means. You look and sound like AI. I look and sound like AI. Okay. There it is. Fantastic. Glad you guys are here. Greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversation with Governor Mike Braun. This whole thing about the Bears is fascinating. The possibility of them coming to moving stadiums to Indiana. I mean, that's a big shift and sea change for something in the NFL. What does it do to a city like Chicago? Is it demoralizing? IA would not have a runny nose. Yes, IA would not have allergies. That is accurate. Wholly accurate. Let's see what else we've got. The Board of Peace. There is the Board of Peace that met today. We've got that story. And I will get to the Iran story in a little bit. You mean that's in D.C.? You're talking about the Potomac? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, Mom Donnie's New York is a very special thing there, Producer Lynn.
I thought this would be easy because I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I have a very good relationship with President Xi. I'm going to be going to China in April. That's going to be a wild one. I said, but we have to put on the biggest display you've ever had in the history of China. You know, last time I went to China, President Xi, he treated me so well. He gave me a display. I never saw so many soldiers all the same height, exactly the same height within a quarter of an inch. You can do that when you have 1.4 billion people. You know, lots of shoulders. Everybody was within about 1/8 of an inch the same height. I said, if they put their helmets down, you could have played pool on the top of their heads. And it was pretty amazing. But I said, you got to top it. He said, I'll top it. We're going to top it. We're going to have a lot of the people, most of the fake news back there is going to be going.
What is happening? This is part of his commentary as he meets with the Board of Peace. Tony Katz today. Oh, he is the gift that keeps on giving. The Board of Peace is this group that has come together to figure out, hey, what do we do about Gaza? How do we engage a rebuilding here of Gaza? How do we go about creating a better society? How do we allow for the end of the terrorism? Jared Kushner spoke at the event.
We cannot change the past, but I think that what you're seeing today is that we can potentially change the future if we focus and do this in the right way. We tried to structure this meeting like a proper board meeting, like we do in the private sector, where we have all the preparation, we get the right people together, and we really report on what our challenges are, what the opportunities are, and what are the approaches. What you've seen today is just a small sample of the work that's been done. And I really want to thank the entire team that's worked so hard at this. A lot of these people are volunteers. They're doing this not for any personal gain. People are not personally profiting from this. They are really doing this for their children and for their grandchildren and because they want to see peace.
Now, I'm going to say, Jared Kushner, so we can just get it out of the way. Some people are going to personally profit from this. Just so we all understand it. We don't have to question it. We don't have to act shocked when it occurs. Some people are going to personally profit from this. But I think that as this is as this is forming is that there's going to be people who mock this, people who try and mock Trump for putting this together. There were protesters outside, and they're board of peace trying to figure out how to create a better Gaza, and they're all in their keffiyehs, and they've got quite literally they created their own dismembered Donald Trump. That's that is exactly who the left is. You know, I mean, this is it. I mean, it isn't. It's not a piece of art by any stretch of the imagination, but there it is. It's a effigy of President Trump and covered in blood, and you can see people standing around wearing keffiyehs. Aren't the people of Gaza better off not having Hamas and having investment and being able to grow without having to placate or hide or bow down to terrorists? Isn't that better for all of us? Because it's better for all of us. How could you think otherwise? It's not better for Americans. It's 10,000% better for Americans. It goes without saying that it's better for Americans. And you would have to be the biggest fool in the world to think that it wasn't better for Americans. You would have to be out of your mind dumb to think that somehow Americans wouldn't be better off if there were no terrorists and no terrorist threats coming from Iran through their proxy, Hamas, in Gaza. Certainly better for the Middle East. It's better for relations. It's better for trade. It's better for a whole host of things. It just is. It cannot be said enough. It just is. I've got a lot more to get to, including the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, scheduled to be with us. Let's Well, we're going to see the Chicago Bears come to Indiana. This is Tony Katz today. All right, let me see if I can do this. Okay, let me do this. And let me do this. And let me do this. And then let me call here. No. There we go. Let me try this. Let me see if you can. I don't know if you guys can. Governor Tony Katz, how are you, sir? Oh, I didn't realize that you were on. I didn't even see you on. So that's my fault. That is my fault. Now, I'm connecting you to the live stream. I'm going to assume live stream you can't hear Governor Braun. I'm going to assume you did not hear him right there. I'm going to see what I can do about this. So you're at the governor's conference in DC? Okay. Now, when the White House does a dinner, is it chicken or fish? Okay. I need to know that you're doing all right. I need to know that. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. Let's see if I got that right. Now I think they can hear you. Now I think the people can hear you. So say hello, Governor.
Hello, Tony.
There it is. Just that easy. So we're back in a couple of moments to the radio show, and so we'll go then. But you're there with the governors there in DC. Has it been a casual conversation? Is it a tense conversation? What has been the subject so far?
Well, so far it's been the RGA, the National Governors Association, will have some stuff, I think, beginning tomorrow. And then, like I say, it ends with the dinner Saturday evening. So this is one of those events where they'll have their own get-together, the Democratic Governors Association, that's going on today and tomorrow. And then it weaves into where we all get together. And then if you recall last year, that was where in the one session, I think either Friday at lunch or maybe Saturday, is when Trump got into a conversation with the governor from Maine, if you remember that.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, this is where that happens.
Okay.
And two Democrats have evidently either Trump disinvited Polis from Colorado and Wes Moore from Maryland, but you know how those things can change. So yeah. I think we should have most here question mark those two.
All right. Well, we're coming back to the radio show right now, so stay right there and we'll get to work.
Okay.
So when the subject first came up of the Chicago Bears coming to Indiana, right? They couldn't create a deal to get them the stadium they wanted in Chicago, in Arlington Heights. So they're like, well, we'll take a look at Indiana. And Indiana said, I think rightfully so, well, that's interesting to us. Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area, we've got space. And a town called Gary put in their plan, and a town called Hammond put in their plan. And then later on, a town called Portage put in their plan. And the state went about trying to say, hey, we can make this happen. And you're going to save so much money for your team by being in Indiana versus being in Illinois. But there's got to be some investment. And that has been my point, that I don't think any stadium deal can come if the Bears are not going to have some skin in the game. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. The governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, joins me right now. He's in D.C. for the Republican governors meet up there, the RGA, and then he'll be meeting with all the governors and President Trump over the weekend. And sir, this has been a back and forth thing. And when you're talking about NFL teams moving their site, the place where they play, it's a big deal. So let's start with where we are. What is it that got passed today from the House Ways and Means Committee here in the Indiana General Assembly? And where do you think this takes us?
So I'll get to that, but I want to tell you the context of 3 years where the Bears had been dealing with their own state and their own city, and mostly they got the cold shoulder. So we actually started this conversation before it was even a public issue to make sure we were doing all the due diligence and to where it had to be done without much public discussion. And that all crossed the threshold when they made their statement in terms of how far we're along. And yes, we did what needed to be done in our own state government to make sure that we were never going to be holding it up or an impediment to it. Blessing for me is building a business over 37 years. I understood the dynamic, being governor, to have to kind of orchestrate it. We weren't going to do anything that jeopardized their own due diligence, but it is now publicly in a place where some are saying it's a done deal. It's a big move from where it would have been just weeks ago when they were still saying this is a bargaining position from the point of the Bears, wanting to work something out.
So let me.
I think I saw today where the state legislature didn't make a move on doing anything, and that's public. So these are a lot of things starting to drop.
After Indiana made its move, it seems that the Illinois legislature decided not to have their meeting about this. But you talk about this has been in the works. Was this something that started after you became governor, or did this start before your term began?
I think from my kind of recall of the timeline, this has been off and on as a discussion in terms of what are the Bears going to do. They definitely did. They got a lease remaining at Soldiers Field. And Arlington Heights, of course, is what you heard about. And that's where everybody thought it was going to go. Probably 4 to 5 months ago, though, that wasn't working out. They weren't seeing anything happening in Chicago from the state legislature. That's when discussions behind the scenes started occurring. And all I can tell you is we were engaging. We were never the holdup, and it actually moved pretty quickly from that point to where we are now.
Talking to the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, about the possibility of the Chicago Bears moving to Indiana. Now, as I understand it, they would play their games in Indiana, new stadium in Indiana, but they're still going to call themselves Chicago. They're still all Chicago. They're still going to be based in Chicago. Or are they talking about bringing team operations to Indiana?
So I think they've gotten a pretty good glimpse of what the difference of being a business in Indiana would be compared to the state they've been domiciled in. So my thinking is going to be obviously a stadium and all the things you generally get around it, all the ancillary economic benefits. And they're going to probably be poised to move as much logistically that makes sense into a state that's going to be easier to have a business in. And those details aren't fleshed out. We're just getting the stuff we know we need to get done with the due diligence they have to do, to where it just cascaded to a point where many are surprised. Of course, I've got folks saying it is a done deal. It's not that, but it's moved a long way.
So now we see that this is possible. We see that they're talking about it openly, that they are open to the concept. Let's talk about the money, sir, because there's a real argument about what these things cost and what they cost Hoosier taxpayers, right? The people of Indiana and every state, anytime they deal with a pro team and, oh, they need a new stadium, and here they have billions of dollars, but they never put up any money, and we're the ones who end up paying for the stadium. My argument has been that I am fine with the ancillary things as we discuss them. I'm fine with off-ramps. I'm fine with new highways, these infrastructure things that will be huge for us, but there has to be some skin in the game. The Chicago Bears have to write a check in the conversation that we're having now about a possible stadium. Do the Chicago Bears write a check for their own stadium?
So when you get into those details, I'm not going to discuss them publicly, but
oh, you can.
I'll tell you this. This is one where you can look very closely in terms of a general model of what we did with the Colts. And of course, all of the things you just said in a fairly short summary will be part of that discussion. And yes, skin in the game is something that I think is going to be part of this. How you extrapolate economic benefits into it, how much this means in terms of economic development, which gets into that cash flow projection. I think things have worked out well in our own state capital, economic development wise. There's just as much, if not more, leverage to help an area that needs it, which would be the region, and especially that Hammond-Gary area. So skin in the game, you like that, I like that. And as we get to the final deal, working through due diligence, that'll all be part of what we're fleshing out.
I have seen where there are reports that the Bears will be upwards of $2 billion in. Can you give us any inkling of not even the dollar amounts, But yes, indeed, the Chicago Bears, if they come to Indiana, will indeed have skin in the game?
I'll tell you this much. When they can factor in the amount of property tax savings that they will receive at the level they're at in Indiana versus at the extreme level they are where they're currently at, that's part of how they're viewing this. And yes, I'm not going to give you an amount, but there's going to be skin in the game. That's all part of what we're working out. But one of the main factors would be the business climate. They're going to be here for a good while if and when they make the move, and that's factoring into it heavily.
Talking to the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, this possibility of the Chicago Bears putting a stadium in Indiana, playing in Indiana. I don't think, sir, knowing you the little bit that I do, that you take a look at Illinois and you say, poor baby. Being able to steal this from Illinois has got to feel pretty freaking awesome. Have you spoken with Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois about this?
No, I have not. And I think the real issue is, why wasn't he in the mayor of Chicago speaking to the Bears? And just here at the RGA today, we were talking about the good news of being in Indiana, where our GDP growth is twice that of Illinois, 3 times that of Kentucky's, 5 times that of Michigan. That's all due to the context, the climate, the regulation, all of that. That's why people are voting with their feet in many cases, businesses, families, and even large entities like the Bears. So we highlighted that among many states where we're benefiting across the country. This is just another example of it.
Is there anything in this deal that for you is a no? Is there anything that has to be done? Like, if this is not part of this deal, I'm not going to approve this. This isn't happening. Do you have, Governor Braun, a red line regarding the Bears and a stadium in Northwest Indiana?
So all I can tell you is how it's evolved to where it is now. It's based upon some mutual things that we've agreed to. And if any of that would change along the lines of some of what we've talked about, that would put a pause on it. Nothing at this point, because we've been methodical. We've been working on this now, you can see, for many months. This is just the first cascade, the first threshold to where they were publicly out there with a statement that gave us the confidence, because we wanted that to be coming if we were going to do what we did in our own state legislature. So it would have to be something that is not currently been part of our discussions. That is why I'm careful not to get ahead of our skis. But it's been a conversation in good faith with an honest broker on both sides of the deal.
What is the thing? What is the next hurdle? What is the thing that when people see it, they could say, my gosh, this is moving in a direction of happening, just so we can be on the lookout?
Well, there would be always things with the real estate that you're looking at. Most of that has been done. A few minor things need to still get done. Just the things that you need to do on any major transaction to make sure you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's. That is kind of where we're at. And all I can tell you is we were real. We've been ahead of it in every way we needed to be. And we wanted to make sure that the culminating factor to get to this point was, if we do the legislation, they're firmly committed to moving forward along the lines of what I've described.
And you feel that they are fairly committed to moving forward?
I am, yes.
Governor Mike Braun, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us, the governor of Indiana, sir. A pleasure. More is coming up. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Appreciate everybody. Being a part of it. A lot of weird stuff going on. People are, I'm telling you right now, don't look at social media. You'll go crazy. These people are nuts. Okay, I've got that right there. Okay, good. All right. Someone can't believe I had the governor of the state on to talk about the Bears. Okay. All right. I swear to you, it's getting weirder and weirder. People are crazy. Crazy. Now, by the way, I saw your post, Jeff. So first we were having an issue with streaming to Twitter. I don't know why that is. And so now we're having an issue with things being seen on Twitter X, and I don't know why that is. And then let's say you wanted to boost the post, right? I don't know how you used to be able to do that. I never did it, but you used to be able to do it. Now I can't see it. So I haven't figured out everything with the streaming. It's very strange. And because you were having issues like with the chats and everything else. Here's what we're noticing. It goes through these really weird cycles where when we're live streaming itself, it isn't, the numbers are not massive. When we take a look at numbers and Toto, the numbers look much better on the mobile side. So I haven't figured out the pathway to getting the numbers to really grow on the standard live stream that we want everything to grow on. What we're doing and pushing on shorts and on the videos, everything, that's doing great. Subscribers are growing. Very, very thrilled. But it seems that over the past week, everything has gotten confusing. Like the past 10 days, something changed and we don't know what it is. So we're working on that right now. So I appreciate that you had some issues, Jeff. Thanks for telling me. My morning show producer had a very good point. And his point was nothing exists in a vacuum. He took a look at a story out of California where gas prices are going up. And you know gas prices have been going down. President Trump is absolutely allowed to crow about that. Gas prices are down. Egg prices are down. You need beef prices to come down. That's what you need. That's why he created the deal with Argentina. I don't know if that 100% is going to work or not. Not the story. Tony Katz today. These prices need to come down. And then he has to do something about car insurance and health insurance. And at least be addressing these things. Note that they're happening. And they've done a much better job of how to engage with the American people on these subjects. They were failing at this in November, December when we were talking about it. They've learned these lessons. They're getting much better at it and at the right time. And still, it doesn't mean that the midterms are a shoo-in for them. It's going to be a difficult road. I'm saying there's absolutely a path, and all of the gnashing of the teeth and clutching of the pearls saying it's over for Republicans. This is February and the election's in November, and a lot of time is between now and then. People need to breathe. They need to breathe. Also, I remember when they told me that Kamala Harris was ahead of Donald Trump in Iowa before the 2024 election. I remember when they told me that Hillary Clinton had it in the bag. So I don't listen to those people. I'm taking a look at data and I'm taking a look at the world, and I can see the path. I'm going to be discussing it February 28th. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later. It's going to be such a good night with the bourbon and the food and everything else. I just want you there. I cannot wait. I think ticket sales end this week. It's going to be amazing. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Can't wait. It's going to be so good. I want to see you there. Come on down to Indianapolis. It'll be terrific. Hyatt Regency. Trust me on the bourbon too. I know what I'm doing. It's going to be fantastic. But my producer, Carl, in the morning show, he said, you see these gas prices going up in California. And you got to ask yourself why that's happening. It's happening because a refinery shut down. And if you've been paying any attention, that we don't have enough refineries in the United States. It's been a problem for years. One refinery has an issue. Next thing you know, gas prices are up. And you've got issues everywhere. We don't have enough refineries. It's been a problem for forever. His point was, if you take the refineries in California and you start saying that they're having problems, and you start seeing them shut down for a week here, 3 weeks there, something like that, now they're pulling gas from other spots. Supply and demand, gas prices go up. And is this a tactic that gets used to try and show the American populace gas prices are up, Trump can't handle the economy, put the Democrats in charge? Is it all a play? Now, whether or not I think Gavin Newsom has control over refineries, well, that's a different subject. Is it enough of that's an interesting thought to make me watch it? I'm not a conspiratorial guy, but yeah, I'll watch it, and we need more refineries. This is Tony Katz today. All right. It's not just you, Stephen. X has been weird. It's so odd. It used to be that we would say, okay, here's where we're streaming the show to. So I stream it to 2 different Facebook pages. I stream it to LinkedIn. I don't know why I stream it to LinkedIn. And then to YouTube, and then X. And about 2 weeks ago, Landon, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, it no longer just naturally connected to X. It stopped. I'm like, that's so weird. And we couldn't figure out what was going on. And we deleted it and then reintroduced it. And then we tried to do it, through our was it RMTP, RTMP, and, making sure we had the stream keys in there. That wasn't working. And then you started getting messages. Hey, you go to Twitter and you click on your profile and it'll show you that you're doing a live. And then you can copy and paste that in as a post. What? It used to be automatic. Now it's not automatic. So I have been doing that. And it certainly has it picked up, but it's been much slower. The audience has been much smaller, as if somehow it's being blocked. It's being shunted in that way. I don't know what actually happened though. And I assume it's Twitter, it's X, and not StreamYard that I use. Because if I'll try another service. So that's what I think is happening, that it is a change that X made. Now, I don't know if other people are having this problem, because there are other people who stream and they get very, very large audiences. So they know something that I don't. There's a way to do this that I do not know how to do it, but I will learn it. We have learned we're so much better at this than we were 3 months ago. Oh my gosh, so much better. And I think we're going to be better 3 months from now. Right now, though, we're in the commercial break. We're in the commercial break for the radio show, so we will be in the commercial break here. Hang loose, smoke them if you got them, and we'll be back with more show. That is the plan. All right? Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today is the name of the show. Don't forget to subscribe wherever it is you are, whether you're on Twitter, X, or whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Come be a part of what we're doing. Glad you're here. Appreciate it. We're going to get into the war with Iran thing. Because I hear what's getting said. I just don't know how it's supposed to work. I have a theory. I'm a man with a theory. I will bring it to you as I'm often a man with a theory about what is possible. What is it that we can or will or should see? But if we're going to hit Iran, there's only one thing to hit, and I don't think that's military. It's just my take, but we'll get into it. More and more and more people discussing the idea that we might be going to war with Iran. And I cannot square the circle on how this works. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. I was going to give the number. I should give the number. 833-468-8669. 833. Got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show. Live streaming, any place you get your live stream. YouTube, Twitter X, Tony Katz. Look for Tony Katz on YouTube. Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. I get the issue. The people who don't believe that Iran is a problem and is a detriment to peace in the region don't understand the region. And I'm not just talking about Tucker and Candace. I'm talking about people who want to believe that somehow whatever Iran does, that's their business and not our business, and we don't have to concern ourselves with it. Not only do you have the funding of terrorism and regarding Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthi rebels, you have an Iran that is very disruptive to what can be a more serene situation. Are these people in these regions ever really going to like each other? Not necessarily. I ask you right now, does the United States really like Canada and Mexico? Maybe it should be asked a different way. Does it matter? It doesn't matter if we like the Mexican government. What matters is on areas of trade that we can work together, we do. And what matters is they're respectful of our border. When they're not respectful of our border, I believe that we should be proactive in telling them so. I do not think we do a good enough job of taking Mexico to task on what they have allowed to happen. I can argue, as you could argue, taking a look at the data over the last 4 years, that Joe Biden put America on a suicide mission. It was, call it suicide, call it attempted murder of a nation. That's obvious. The unwillingness to protect the border was purposeful. I'll say it today. I'll say it every day. It is reality. It was purposeful. And I could talk about years of both parties not doing enough to secure the border. But in those last 4 years, it's absolute madness. Madness that took place. And I think that we should be taking a look at Mexico and holding them responsible for what it is they allowed to have happen. We should hold other nations responsible for what they have sent our way. And I don't think we should just say, hey, you shouldn't do this again. I think we should be unkind about it. When it comes to Iran, I do not think that the Jordanians and the Israelis and the Egyptians are ever going to have monthly tea parties. But maybe if they weren't trying to kill each other, maybe if they didn't hate each other, maybe if they engaged a little bit of trade, maybe if there was a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tourism. Great. Isn't that enough? I don't need kumbaya moments. I would just like to stop some killing, please, get some trade going, and make it a little easier to entertain. Sometimes the best you can do. Iran is a problem in getting any of that done. Never mind the fact that Iran has been oppressing its people for going on 5 decades with this Islamic hellscape nonsense that none of them want. They're not Islamists. They're Persians. Should think of them as Europeans. So they, over the years, have engaged in levels of protest. And when the Green Revolution came about, when Barack Obama was in office, on air, I stated that what Barack Obama needs to do, he doesn't have to send any troops. You need to put on a green tie. You need to get in front of a microphone and say, I only hope that the people, the Iranian people, can find their way to a better tomorrow. And when they do, we will be there as their friend with our arm outstretched to shake their hand and engage in trade. It's what I said. I said it on I didn't have this show at the time. I had a different show at the time. On that show. Same thing is true. But Obama didn't do that. And the same thing is true now. You have to do the work. Yes, you're going to have to put yourself at risk to do it. And we will be right here to be your friend, and we are your friend. We want to see you be free. So I believe that a fair amount of this falls on the people of Iran. We should recognize that they can't do it alone. We should also recognize that our world is better and safer without the regime. The funding of the terrorism affects us. It does. To say otherwise is nutty. And Trump has told these protesters, these people, that help is on its way. This brings us to the story that the U.S. is sending significant numbers of jet fighters and sport aircraft to the Middle East. This was from the Wall Street Journal. This came out last night. The story says that the U.S. is ready to take action against Iran. The president has not decided whether or not to order strikes. And this is where things get a little cattywampus. We know that we've got the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier in the area. Then we hear, going back to a story on February 13th, that the USS Gerald Ford, the largest carrier, is going to go into the area. That's a lot of firepower. It's a tremendous amount of firepower. If I take a look at the fleet tracker right now, the USS Gerald Ford is making its way right now into the Mediterranean. The USS Abraham Lincoln is in the Gulf of Oman. As we speak, that's where these are. So let's now say that the plan is for the U.S. to engage a strike. At this moment, I don't know what to say next because I don't know where this strike is going. You want to talk about a potential strike on Iran. What does that look like? What does a potential strike mean? They're not sure if the plan is to hit military targets, if the plan is to topple the regime. What is the effort? What is the goal here? I have spent a fair amount of time on this, not as much as experts might spend on it. I cannot do any math that says, you know, what would be a good move would be to take out military targets. I'm never opposed to taking out military targets in Iran, limiting their capacity to shoot missiles and other things, whether it be at the United States or via our aircraft carriers or military or anybody else. It'd be better for the region if we did. I'm sure they would appreciate it, especially as you have this Board of Peace conversation and you talk about rebuilding Gaza. Iran doesn't want to give up Hamas and give up their foothold in the area. So it's better to further limit them, separate them from Hamas, and make sure Hamas dies and scatters. It's better for everybody. But I don't know how this helps the people on the ground. How does hitting the military targets engage regime change? Regime change comes from a dead Ayatollah or a removed Ayatollah, which means you have to give him a path out. So when Trump keeps talking about wanting to negotiate with the Iranians, I've made the argument, negotiate about what? Does that mean that the Ayatollah stays in power? In which case, the money is still flowing, the IRGC stays in power, and the people are still subjected to hell. Or does negotiating mean, hey, we'll give you a safe harbor to, well, I don't know where it would be right now. It could have been Venezuela, but it won't be Venezuela. To Russia, China, wherever it is, you'll get safe harbor. And then the IRGC will get, you know, we'll cut off the money and that'll be it. I don't know if that's what it means. I am not sure. Does it mean not bombing military targets, but bombing targets in Tehran in hopes of killing the Ayatollah? Because I'm willing to bet you any amount of money, if it's just you and me on a bar stool having a bourbon, I will bet you any amount of money that if a call is made to the Israelis and the question is, hey, where's the Ayatollah? They know exactly where the Ayatollah is. And they already have a plan. Does anybody question whether or not the Israelis could get to the Ayatollah right now if they thought getting to the Ayatollah was the best thing for them to do? Is there any question? Was it the Ayatollah who put together a group and picked the general, and you have to root out the Israeli spies that are existing within our military, and the guy he picked was an Israeli spy? You can't make these things up. The ability to have gotten into Iran and put explosives into homes, so when you needed to take these people out, you could, where they slept. The pager attack. People could say that it was terrible and disgusting and an act of war. Screw them. They're never so happy as when Israel takes the hits, but somehow doesn't hit back. Israel has to choose its own course. I'm talking about the United States here. I don't want to take any terrorist hits whatsoever. I want to cut off the head of the terrorist funding. I want it to be over. And I do want the people of Iran to be able to be Persia again and have a free life. The only way I can see that making any sense or happening is if you take out the oil. I believe that the move is to eliminate the ability for Iran to profit from oil. That ends everything. Do you still hit their military targets? You prevent them from shooting off missiles? Absolutely. But if you can prevent them from funding the terrorists and funding the IRGC, then you have the collapse. Now, collapse has its own issues. Collapse is going to create its own problems. But when we talk about a war stance, I'm asking, what is it that you're trying to get done? If there's a war stance that involves them not being able to shoot any more missiles at anyone in the region, okay, but you still haven't done anything for the people who are trying to be free in Iran. And if you're going to live up to that, you're the guy who said, President Trump, help is on its way. he has to go. So either you want to negotiate a deal where he gets to go and live out the rest of his days in peace, hating the United States, or you're going to take him out, or we're going to starve him out. The only way to starve him out is to end their ability to make any oil. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. But I have no idea what it is we're going to be hitting and why anybody would think that hitting some military targets would make a difference to how things happen in Iran on the daily basis. I don't get it. But I'll be watching this weekend. We'll see if we take some shots. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. There we go. Tony Katz, guys. Good to be with you. Good to be with you. Man, a lot of people angry about the possibility of the Bears moving. We don't want this. We don't want to pay for this. Why are we always paying for this? There's a difference between investment and stupidity. There's a difference. I don't know why we shouldn't note that. The question is, how much skin in the game will the Bears have? If they have none, well, that's a problem. And this is Mayor Johnson. He's supposedly pretty angry. I'll play that. All right, we're coming back to the show. So I am told that the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is super angry at the possibility that the Bears might be leaving. Now, I haven't listened to this, producer Landon, so finger on the dump button in case the mayor gets all sorts of nasty, because we don't. Last thing we want is to play that.
Is my face straight?
Hold on a second. Is it not playing?
All right, keep it
Oh,
straight
it's
face.
not. Ah, I'm gonna have to go get that. I'm gonna have to go grab that. Oh, that's killing me. I can't believe it's not playing. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. I will grab that audio. I will make it work. Nope. Instead, we're gonna have to listen to Bernie Sanders be all angry and upset, screaming about the oligarchs.
They are sick and tired of people like Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, who is spending $20 million to defeat this tax on billionaires. Mr. Brin, you are worth $245 billion. Since Trump was elected, you have become over $100 billion richer. Listen to the needs of working people. Stop threatening the people of California. Start paying your fair share of taxes.
Bernie Sanders is a scumbag. He's going to sit there from his perch and decide that Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, isn't paying his fair share of taxes because only Bernie Sanders knows a fair share. That is a lowlife of a person. Those people booing, you think your life is better off without Google? They created the thing the world uses. You think your life is better off without it? I'm not saying everything they do is perfect. I'm not saying that they are without sin. I'm not saying they should be without watchdog. I am saying that you have created nothing. Bernie Sanders never created a damn thing in his entire life. There is no accomplishment to his name through the work of his own sweat. A city mayor, a congressman, a senator. He wrote a book, allegedly, and his wife bankrupted a college. That is the grand total sum of Bernie Sanders, a man who has never signed the front of a paycheck, who never once made investment, telling other people whether or not they're good. This oligarch nonsense you've got going on, do you know how just unbelievably boring it all is? And why would any 18-year-old buy into this? Why are you buying it? Isn't it better to ask, how do I become the billionaire? If you taxed the billionaire at 100% and took all of their money, that would be better. Because if you're taking all his money, they're going to take all your money. Better only if the state just prescribes to you what you need for your day, for your week, for your month. That is not a world that I want to live in, and I think that we should fight you in the streets if we have to, because what you are proposing, Bernie Sanders, goes contra to the Constitution that affords me a Republican form of government in Article 4, Section 4. You've created nothing, and your minions booing like a bunch of freaks created nothing. Nah, it's good that Sergey is fighting a billionaire's tax in California. It's good that we recognize that attacking people for having made a living or inherited money isn't smart. It's jealousy. It's evil. It's utilizing government in its power for the sake of utilizing its power. It doesn't create a better society, a freer society. It doesn't create a richer society. It creates nothing. It takes away everything. Bernie Sanders couldn't build a society if his life depended on it, because he's never built anything. He's 80 years old. He never built a thing except a class of very, very anti-intellectual student groups that are pushing nonsense on our kids. So, congratulations there, I guess. This is Tony Katz today. All right. Oh no, don't ever talk about the money he's made. Nah, never held a job and he's worth millions. It is unbelievable. Yeah, that's what I had, man. Did it play? No, it's not playing. Yeah, it's only playing left channel. So I need it both channels. So you can go in. Can you do that? All right. So it only plays left channel. I can't hear it. And so I'm not sure what the audience hears, so I don't play it. Pritzker now out with a statement. Oh, this is getting fun. This is getting fun. I don't know if Indiana's going to get the Bears or not, but I'm enjoying this. And I got to tell you, the people who don't want to go for it, I don't get what they're about. It's part of a larger conversation of zero growth. Let's say you don't want the Bears. Okay, what do you want? Nothing. Nothing doesn't get you anywhere. Doesn't get you anywhere. I'm just going through some stuff right now, making sure I've got everything for what's next. Go. 'Kay. All right. I will try and throw that in here right now. $30 seconds. Got it. It's weird when we do this with the radio show and you gotta wait for the radio show to come back. Let me see. Can you hear this?
Is my face straight? Okay. Okay. All right. Keep a straight face here. The Bears.
He's keeping a straight face. Good Lord. Oh, all right. We've got 3 more. I have so much more stuff to get to. My God. This show, man, it moves. It's cooking. Three more things to get to, stories that should be a front page news, but aren't necessarily. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. This was front page news. The former Prince Andrew arrested. That is front page news. We're talking about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, who was Prince Andrew while the Queen was still alive. The relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and now the idea that he is arrested due to misconduct.
Just breaking news in the last couple of moments, extraordinary news. Not just that the police have arrived at the Sandringham estate where Prince Andrew, as was now Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, is currently living since being thrown out of the Windsor estate. The police have arrested Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. It's an extraordinary revelation and development on this story involving the Epstein Files and all the allegations that have been swirling around about Andrew over the many years, from Virginia Giuffre, now sadly deceased, and since then, and certainly what's been contained in the Epstein Files as released in the last few weeks. But
now, this was about misconduct, and it could clearly be in regard to Epstein. It could be in regard to something else. It would be kind of hard to believe that it is about something else. But someone found a very interesting piece. This is President Trump, February 27th, 2015. I haven't even heard this yet. This was on Bloomberg. He's even holding a Bloomberg microphone. Listen.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
Oh, my God. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, you understand that the left wants to use the Epstein Files as a way of winning the midterms. Now, this was over there on that nonsense show, Stephen Colbert, which is an arm of the Democratic Party. And on this nonsense show, he has on Senator John Ossoff, who's in a re-election battle. And this is how Colbert goes about things with the senator from Georgia, about how he coined a phrase.
You used this phrase, the Epstein class. First of all, what did you mean by using that term? And why do you think that just automatically made visceral sense to so many people? Why do you think that's catching on?
I think there's a couple things going on. The first is that this whole Epstein saga has exposed the lie at the very core of Donald Trump's political project. And it's been a lie. It's been a lie.
They haven't even heard him explain it. All they hear is Trump, like, yeah, Trump bad. And then like circus seals. They're clapping away. What is John Ossoff, Senator Ossoff's argument?
It's been a lie since he came down the golden escalator, which is that this guy cares about or ever wanted to do anything to help working class and middle class Americans. They worked so hard to suppress all of this. They didn't want any of this to come out because Trump world is all over it and so closely connected.
Yes, like Bill and Hillary Clinton in Trump world. Just all over it and so connected. Team Trump made a mistake by not releasing everything. We said it here. We meant it here. They believe that they could just say Epstein and somehow it's only going to connect to Trump. They believe that they can do this and they can push this. This is their lever, and this is how they can win the midterms. There's a way to handle this. There is a way to go about dealing with this because Trump is not connected to any impropriety whatsoever. Trump is now connected multiple times to calling out the impropriety and the people who were engaging in it. Prince Andrew, what you just heard, Ghislaine Maxwell, which you had heard earlier last week. If you want to argue that there were rich and powerful people connected to Jeffrey Epstein on both sides of the aisle, that would be rational and normal. Us finding who was involved with abusing children and bringing them to justice, that would be rational and normal. John Ossoff is not rational and normal. Progressives are not rational and normal. They want to know how they can utilize something to destroy their political enemy, and they don't care that children were raped and sex trafficked. They don't care. Blue collar America takes a look at trade deals and they say Trump cares more about me than this party of college elitists who don't give a damn if I didn't study gender studies, right? They don't care about me. That's reality. What he's engaged in is projection. It is clear that the Republicans are the ones talking about the working class, and it is clear that the Democratic Party, which is to say the progressives, are the party of elitists and elitism. With Jeffrey Epstein, we should together be saying, find the people guilty and charge them. And what John Ossoff, the senator of Georgia, is saying, Trump bad. They don't care about children. John Ossoff doesn't give a damn if children get raped. Quote me. He doesn't care. What's he going to do? Come on the show and explain yourself. People in the Epstein Files include Whoopi Goldberg. Doesn't mean she did anything wrong, but she's there. When Epstein got out of jail and he was back in New York, who was at the dinner with him? George Stephanopoulos and Chelsea Handler. Senator, you have a choice. Be a decent human being or be this lying, reprehensible lowlife. You chose plan B. Weird. You don't care about kids. You don't care if children are sex trafficked. You don't care that young girls get raped. Senator John Ossoff doesn't care because he just said on Stephen Colbert's show that he doesn't care. Better to say it's all about Trump being bad. Now, do we have to hear the rest of it? Is it possible he said something else?
This is, in fact, a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich and the ultra-elite. And it's not just about who they are, but look at what they've done. They have cut health care in order to slash taxes for the wealthy and well-connected. People across the country are suffering. And so it just speaks to the hypocrisy of the MAGA movement and of the president. I also think there's a deeper issue here, which is that the corruption underlying Trump's rise in American politics and a class of elites who pour billions into political campaigns who are unaccountable and who have...
You mean like George Soros? Go on, call me an anti-Semite because I talk about George Soros. I dare you. Go on. I'm waiting. By the way, I don't think I get some special pass because I'm Jewish. I think anybody could talk about anyone, anywhere, anytime. Anytime. I'm a human being with a mind, and I can understand things, and I can come up with ideas and thoughts and opinions based on data, and I have no good thought about George Soros or his beta male son, Alex. I don't. By the way, he presents as beta. I've never met the dude, so I don't know, might be a nice guy. But this is their whole argument. You just saw it played out. Does John Ossoff care about children? No. John Ossoff cares about defeating Trump more than he cares about children not being raped and those who rape children being arrested. I said it. I meant it. That's my takeaway from what he said. I will discuss it anywhere, anytime, in front of a Senate panel. I have no issues. Then there's this. There was another student walkout that took place, right? They're protesting ICE. They're not protesting ICE. They're taking the day off school. They don't care. They'll say anything. They're 14-year-olds. The real story here is the adults who want to use them as political pawns. And here they are, they're just running across traffic. I don't know if there's cursing or anything, but they're holding signs and they're running through traffic. The light's green, by the way, and they're just running, and they're running to Dunkin' Donuts because clearly nothing says I'm in a protest quite like a chocolate glazed. This is what schools are doing. This is how schools are endangering students during school hours, letting them run through traffic. But then there's this principle. By the way, finger on the dump button there, producer Landon, who informs students that if you walk out of school,
come up back to class and we're good. If you stay out here, we will get your names. You will be suspended. Okay? That is your option at this point. Because you are operating outside the bounds of what was granted. That event was canceled. You left school without permission. Your rights do not supersede the school. So if you understand that, that is your option. If you wish to return, Dr. Damiani will let you in that door over there. If not, I will be getting your names. You will be suspended. Okay?
That's my guy. And that's how it's done, kids. That's how you remind students that they are not special. They are 16. Get your butt back in class. Oh, you're allowed to feel things. Oh, you're allowed to think things. You might have a different opinion than me on a whole bunch of things. Nothing wrong with that. But this is school time. Get your butt back in class. You're not special. Your mother lied to you. Fantastic work. Absolutely thrilled to see it. I did have one more thing. I was talking about, I had three more things, and I did have one more thing. And I thought I had it right over here. Oh, I hate it when I lose track of things. Oh, that's right. Do you remember yesterday, the White House press briefing where Ed O'Keefe said to Caroline Leavitt that President Trump said that media accuses him of racism? Do you remember this just yesterday?
Jesse Jackson, the president said, despite the fact that I'm falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right? No. I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm going to get my team in that room to start going through the internet of radical Democrats throughout the years, Ed, who have accused this president falsely of being a racist. And I'm sure there's many people in this room and on network television across the country who have accused him of the same. In fact,
Absolutely true. The idea that you could ask that question is beyond nutty. And people went to work. The Atlantic, why doesn't Trump pay a political price for his racism? Then you have this right here from Representative Ocasio-Cortez a few years back.
Very old and a racist and a
neo-Nazi. These people are ridiculous. Ridiculous. And liars, one and all. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Yeah, I mean, this is so amazing.
Donald Trump is also very old and a racist and a neo-Nazi. Donald Trump.
But Ed O'Keefe, he doesn't know. That is just precious. Just precious. By the way, where they were running out of the school was A.C. Reynolds High School in Asheville, North Carolina. That's where they were running across the street. Dude, everybody is all over this Chicago Bears story. Oh my gosh. Everyone. Because Illinois looks really bad. People are arguing that Illinois has been having this discussion and not doing anything about a stadium for 5 years. 5 years. Okay, then. Well, that's something. That is something. And then I've got Brandon Johnson to bring you. The mayor. Oh yeah, it's good. It's very good. Oh, he needs to keep the straight face. Absolutely. Absolutely, he does. All right. I gotta get that done. This was I actually have it right here. This is Pritzker. It's not a flattering screenshot right there. That's not flattering at all. What is Pritzker? It's the governor of Illinois here. What does he have to say? That's not what happened. Are you telling me you didn't hear that? Wait, hold on. Did you not get the audio in the chat from that? That's weird. That's very weird. That is super weird. Telling you, everything's weird. But I will that's very funny, Ann. We can't hear him, but we know he's lying. That's very funny. All right, I'll bring you I've got this from Mayor Johnson. Oh, about the Bears. By the way, would you stay in Chicago? I think they should change the name. I'm telling you, this story about the Chicago Bears possibly moving to Northwest Indiana, it's taken on a life of its own. Chicago Illinois is losing their mind. You now have J.B. Pritzker, the governor, speaking out. We had a bill, and they wanted to make some tweaks to it. We're very shocked by their statement, because their statement is, hey, Indiana, let's really talk. Let's see if we can put this together. We had the governor of Indiana on the show. I'm Tony Katz today. And then the mayor of Chicago has decided to speak out, and how absolutely precious is he?
Is my face straight? Okay. All right, keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself.
What is the evidence that they're better off in Chicago? What's the evidence? Honestly. By the way, what was that whole "is my face straight"? What does that mean?
Is my face straight? Okay. All right, keep a straight face here.
What was he getting at with that? Did he want to show everybody how serious he is? Doesn't seem like you guys are very, very serious. And not only do I now favor them moving to Northwest Indiana, I favor changing the name. Don't call yourselves the Chicago Bears. Call yourselves the Chicagoland Bears. Change it all. Now, the possibility of them coming to Indiana, that's a town called Hammond. They're not going to call themselves the Hammond Bears. I would lose my head. They'll still call themselves Chicago Bears, but this is getting fascinating. And this is not a done deal. Know what you think it is. But you really think Chicago is better than Indiana? What are you, out of your skull? This is Tony Katz today. Not with you as governor. I'm not with Pritzker, and not with you as mayor, Brandon Johnson. Not in the slightest. The Gary Bears. That's by the way, somebody has said we should call them the Hammond Wolves because it's Wolf Lake. Is that where they're going to be, or it could be? Good question. Good question. Let's see. No. South Bend's on the other end of the state. Right? You're talking about Northwest Indiana versus Northeast Indiana. South Bend's near Elkhart. And then you have Middlebury and then Shipshewana, and then you have basically Ohio. Producer Landon's asking. So Wolf Lake is really right there. Right there on the border. There it is. It's very close. It is super, super close. So, and according to the map that I'm looking at right now here, this is the map right here. So the key is that first things first. The big body of water, which has the road going through it, that's Wolf Lake. And then you see that orange thing, like in the middle, not the one to the left that says Wolf Lake, which is kind of red, but orange. That's a White Castle. As far as I'm concerned, they're done. They're finished. And if you look up top, you see the purple little thing up top. That's the Horseshoe. That's gambling. Right there. Oh. I like it. Is it above or below the equator? I will get with Representative Ocasio-Cortez and get back with you. You people are funny. I like it. I like it a lot. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being part of the show. We are back tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe wherever it is you're watching. On YouTube, go to Tony Katz, and on Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, Twitter X, Tony Katz, and on Instagram, I'm Tony Katz as well. And then I think you can still get tickets. Trump, 1 year later, I have got the math on how to win these midterms, and we're going to do so. If we follow the rules, if we do it the way we're supposed to, tickets.tonykatz.com, tickets.tonykatz.com. I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so terrific. I cannot wait. So join me. Bourbon, food, great time. Let's go to work. Appreciate you guys being here. I am back with the live stream tomorrow. So be sure to tune in. Then more radio is coming down over there at WIBC.com. Check it out for yourself. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.